Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Mega Man X3. Today we are going to be tackling Blast Hornet, Neon Tiger, Bit, and watching a city blow up! Whoa!
Well, these stakes seem a little higher than I remember them being. Wait, is that entirely because of this one chode?
Yeah! Like, this is basically the plot of X4 right here, and it just blows up a city like that.
You know, like, I'm glad they weren't trying to stick to alliterative names because Holocaust Hornet would probably be a little on the nose.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it would. So, first of all, you see how I'm actually forcing health drops with the ice shield?
Yeah, it's an interesting maneuver right there. You're taking advantage of some off-screen respawns, I take it.
Yep. And in addition to that, it's also one of the mightiest sub-weapons in the game. It does 15 HP of damage, which is just below the 18 of the spinning blade. And for reference, a charge shot is only 9 HP of damage. And that ride platform up there, we don't get to use it yet, even though we already got a ride armor from Ice Buffalo, because we need to get the ride armor from this stage first. Even though nothing ever tells you that, including the manual.
I'm glad that Blizzard Buffalo was so forgettable with the cycle abuse that they're not even worthy of having their name remembered properly.
Or even spelled properly, apparently.
Yeah, this is why I said, like, I'm glad they didn't go for the alliterative name of the Hornet.
Oh yeah. So then, these enhancement chips, these are upgrades to your upgrades. But the downside is that you can only use one at a time. And if you choose one, it locks you out of the others permanently. Again, no warning to this. It just happens. And it also locks you out of one of the ultimate rewards in the endgame.
Right.
But fortunately, you need a base upgrade in order to use the corresponding chip, so since we didn't have the helmet part already, we didn't fall victim to that.
Right. And now we proceed through the ugly door.
Oh yeah.
I can't be the only one who thinks that those doors look really unimpressive and hideous.
They look impressive to me, but just not particularly good. And this thing jumps every time you shoot it.
Right.
Which is how I'm completely safe until it starts spinning around the room.
Oh yeah.
And then from here, it sort of bounces up and down, and then you cycle back to where it started, so pretty easy mini-boss.
I like fighting like the empty, like, polygon things that you throw down within X2 and X3. I always thought those were really neat. Like, they're really simple, and I know a lot of people call them cheap these days. But, you know, when I was younger, like, I always thought it was really cool to see that, and they're different, so, you know, I don't see any harm at the very least.
Yeah. And there's the ride armor. It would be time to rampage around the stage with it, except one of the achievements in the Legacy Collection is to not only Buster Duel Bit, Bite, and Vile, but to do so without using a ride armor in their stage or using any special weapons on them. So,
oh boy.
In addition to already suffering the same problems as what Zero had, not being able to go through mini-bosses, only usable in certain sections, we can't even use them for achievements, because I guess the devs disliked you or something. Also, this is thrilling, isn't it?
So, are you the reason why I didn't get my mail last week?
I don't know. Maybe.
I'm just saying, I'm expecting a package.
Oh, wow. Well, I pity you. But yeah, this whole pointless thing is all because we didn't do Gravity Beetle first. Which is funny because doing Beetle before Hornet forces a reset in Beetle. But because that segment was just so long, it's still worth doing Beetle first anyway. It's like 25 seconds faster at least, which is just insane. Also, we could have fought Bit there.
A lot of no-show rooms with the hideous door transitions.
Oh yeah. So we have full health and we're fighting a boss soon. You know what time it is? It's time for damage boosting time.
There we go. Zero, Bane of the Postal Worker.
Thanks, Zero. Okay. Now here is, I'd say, one of the easier bosses, but also pretty fun. Blast Hornet. I'll save beating him with his weakness for when we do the refights, but here, we're gonna fight him just once.
Right.
So first, he's gonna always start with a sting attack, which homes in on you. And then he's gonna throw out some bees based on where your location is. But if you're directly under him every time, they're completely useless. And even if they do get to spread around the room, you can just clear them out with a regular full charge.
Right.
So the first phase, pretty simple. The second phase, when it goes below 20 HP, can hit you sometimes, but it always spawns those little bees from the lower right of it, so even then, it's a very simple to just get into this rhythm where you're destroying them all. And if you don't, you can just kill them in one shot with a regular pellet. So all in all, pretty simple, even doing it no damage.
Right. Just kind of over here in the territory, aha, I am hoping to intimidate people who played Harvester into being unable to actually fight.
Yeah. Harvester was that one PC game, right?
Mm-hmm. A game that was made in protest of Looney Tunes being called excessively violent. Roadrunner stuff in particular.
Oh.
That's generally what the inspiration for getting it started was.
And
then it kind of goes and becomes its own thing, and they kind of slip on their own message a little bit, but the passion's there.
Yeah.
And a complete engagement in let's be as horrible as we can because we can.
Oh yeah.
And have that be our point. Just like this person.
Yeah. Slashing those metal trees. What does he think he's doing?
So we're going to deal with Slash Man.
Basically.
I can't believe they basically had, like, 2 Mega Man bosses who are basically the same thing in appearance.
Yeah. So here's the parasitic bomb. It doesn't look too impressive here because it's one of the few enemies it doesn't levitate into another. But generally speaking, most things you use it on will get trapped and then get thrown into another enemy. One-shot it while it also explodes, so it's actually very helpful in some sections like Gravity Beetle and Toxic Seahorse.
It seemed like it was turning off collision, so you could just walk through them.
Yeah, it also does that, so that's pretty cool.
Indeed.
In fact, it's so helpful that I actually got the order slightly wrong in the first episode. We're actually doing Toxic Seahorse and Gravity Beetle before Crush Crawfish. I just misremembered. Apologies for that.
Not a problem. By the way, you were talking about how, like, there were the other capsules. It's like, oh yeah, these have, like, the extra things, and you can only take one of them. And it's like, I always found those so infuriating as a kid, because it's just like, ooh, capsule, I'm gonna get an upgrade. What do you mean you're giving me nothing, you dead old man?
Sometimes cruel, isn't it, X? He even rubs salt in the wound with that.
Like, I recognize that there's a visual difference between the capsules, but that's not something that I noticed as a kid.
And even if you did, it's kind of like defeating the whole purpose of the X series, where it's like, you have the stage, but then there's also all these hidden paths you can explore and upgrade your abilities. But with that, it's like, you just negated that aspect. And speaking of negating, here's how powerful the ice shield is. There we go. Beaten.
Hooray.
Yeah.
I always appreciate it whenever, like, the ice or the water weapon are particularly effective.
Yeah, so do I. Alright, Fornea, are we ready to use those ride armors at last?
No.
Good, because we're not. If you step onto this platform, just press the jump button to cancel out of it. And just use Zero instead, because...
We're riding the Zero armor is what we're doing.
Yep, ride armor 0. And as you can see, these guys don't do a lot of contact damage at all, because the devs could not make up their minds on just how much it should do. Not even when it came to their bosses, as we're gonna see very shortly. And we're also gonna only charge up to the regular level because the quote-unquote upgraded charge is very slow, doesn't pierce, doesn't do as much as it did in X2, and it makes you stop in place. So it's actually an inconvenience against bosses.
Yeah, I was never thrilled about that.
So let's just damage boost him through him instead, since apparently he only does 1 damage. There we go.
Bit of a design flaw on that one.
Yeah. And if you slay him with his own weapon, it actually destroys him instead of making him retreat. And if you do that to his partner Bite, it actually changes one of the endgame bosses.
Oh boy.
And it's actually a harder boss, too, so we're gonna Buster Duel him instead, even if we weren't doing the achievements. And change the music a bit, since I always thought this should have been what played. Anyways, this guy goes through a strict pattern where he either does the stun rings first, which you mash out of, or he does the tracking fireballs first. He also doubles up on those when he falls below half HP. So, once I know which one he's gonna do next, if it's the fireball, I want to wait until he does the solo one before damaging him further. Because dodging 2 of those is very tricky.
I always felt like this guy was not all that difficult.
He really isn't. In fact, he's very predictable, but he's still story significant, so I thought he deserved some special music. Like the Fortress boss music.
And goodbye.
Yeah. To be fair, he was a lot cockier in the Japanese version, bragging about how many Reploids he quote-unquote buried, and also laughing maniacally as he laughed, so...
So you mean he actually had a character?
Basically, but I guess they couldn't get it through. Now, you ready to see one of the good things about the upgraded Buster? Neon jumps.
Yeah, I'm noticing this abuse jump here.
Yeah! So for the first spiral charge, you let go of the shoot button at the same time as you press the jump button in the middle of your dash. That's really hard, so even most runners settle for the second one, where on the second charge you just press jump and shoot at the same time. But yeah, if you want the top times, that's what you have to do.
Right.
Now, are you ready for the second hardest boss in the game for no damage list, but the second easiest otherwise? Well, here we are.
Hooray.
Because when this guy goes here, there's 3 different attacks he can do. 1 is when he jumps off the wall and slashes you, does it pretty quickly, but can't reach you if you're far enough away. he aims all these poorly aimed scatter shots at you, and then for the third, you just dash under him like so.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these are pretty easy by themselves, it's just the unpredictability that makes him tough, so just stand as far away as you can, and air dash over him every time he's in the center, that way he doesn't catch you with those ray splashers.
I always thought that the sound that his little tail laser makes is incredibly stupid.
That's because it is, but alas, that's what they went with.
Like, the fact that he also opens his maw whenever he, like, fires the shot makes it almost sound like he's just meowing at you.
I can hear that. Now, the reason I'm not dropping him below 10 HP is because there's another variation I want to show. This one, you dodge it the same way, of just jumping forward and over. And yeah, he blocks all your charge shots, except your cross charge, because it is just that delayed that it actually skips his blocking animation. That is sad, isn't it?
Welcome here to the no fun zone.
Oh yeah.
Population /man/neon tiger.
Oh yeah. You can get a little tedious with that. It's like, the bosses have this weird thing where they have one good phase, but then the other phase isn't that great at all. Speaking of not that great, here's what the fight looks like if you don't mind getting damaged, because the devs made the contact damage too low. And also gave him really bad eyesight.
Just flying here, because why not?
But like, do you see how when you tried to do the claw attack, the contact damage kicked in before the slash damage did?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's those little janky things that makes it seem like maybe not every fight was fully tested, you know?
Yeah, I can certainly get that impression, especially with the kind of wonkiness of the damage output across the game.
Yeah, it's like regular enemies will do 6 to 8, but actual bosses will do like 1. I don't get it.
And now we get this thing that I don't think I ever used, except as a boss weakness.
Neither do I. We'll talk about that and the parasitic bomb a little more in the next episode, but for now, this is Fiona de Quester and Fornea signing out. Have a nice day and God bless you all.
Bye.
Bye.